Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Friday, the 16th of January. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts, and I'm not here to shoot trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.subset.com. It's published on YouTube after a delay of 24 hours. All right, looking at ES, we didn't quite see a retest of the high yesterday. NQ the same. RTY had already made a new high and made another one yesterday. We've still got that 60-minute sell signal, which didn't quite fail yesterday, although it came very close. YM, I'm wondering, this looks like a bullish consolidation to me. This should result in at least a retest of this high in due course. DAX, I'm drawing a possible overall pattern from the November low here. Haven't done that with the STX, but I'm wondering about doing the same on that. Not necessarily going to tell us an awful lot, but might give us some pointers later. All right, so we've only got sell signals. Only ones remaining are the ones on RTY, where it barely went down at all, and this one here on ESTX, which is on where it has reached the possible near miss target. Okay, looking at the bigger picture, on the daily middle band, obviously we came back and tested on SPX, and we're pretty close to a retest of the high. I'm leaning towards seeing that, and that could give us a potential double top. On the hourly chart, no current divergence. On the 15-minute chart, no current divergence. Looking at Qs, we came down and gave it a fairly aggressive test and actually got down slightly below intraday to the 50-day MA. Nice support test here. This is overall looking pretty weak, mainly because the Magnificent Seven are looking majority weak here. We've seen a couple of highs, incredibly Tesla. Because I really think, well, honestly, I'm wondering if Tesla is going to be with us in 2 or 3 years. But nonetheless, they went up, and Google's doing very well because they currently seem to be ahead in the AI race, and I think Amazon's doing okay. But anyway, on the Qs, not coming close to a retest of the high, but we do have a bull flag channel which has broken up and which does have a target at a retest of the high. I'm thinking it might catch a bid and get there, but it is a concern that that Nasdaq has been underperforming for the last month, because in effect, I think practically all of the gains on SPX last year were tech gains. I think the rest of the markets was flat or down. So if we've lost tech as the driving force, then, well, that's not going to be looking good for this year. Have a look at the chart of the day today. It is very illuminating. As it looks at years, it basically has a look at basically put forward PE ratios historically on SPX, and what, when you reach certain levels, you could reasonably expect to see in the next 10 years. It's currently only on historical levels. Obviously, every time can be different, but on a historical basis, this would suggest that SPX is likely to return zero for basically the next 10 years. We will see that, but interesting. But obviously, by historical standards, PE ratios and forward PE ratios are very, 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 very high. Okay, Dia, we're actually on an RSI 5 sell signal here, and we're also on an hourly RSI 14 sell signal. No, we were on that. We've actually made target on that. So 15 minutes might have a bit of divergence there, but not an awful lot to see. We've got a nice looking double top here. We may be coming back up and retesting the high. We got pretty close to that yesterday. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture chart on IWM. And okay, IWM has been continuing higher. In terms of the daily chart, we're not close to any negative divergence, but really on both the RSI 14 and the RSI 5, what we'd need is a pullback and a retest, and we'd set some up. Now, I've got a very nice looking resistance trend line here, but at the moment we're breaking up from it. I just want to have a quick look at the other options in the event that we are going to maintain that. And the obvious one that comes to the eye is from here. And okay, we are already through that one. Gotta say, that was the very, very obvious one. I'm going to replace that. I'm going to replace the first one. because I think that has been superseded. So the other obvious one, it looks as though it is overthrowing that as well. So is this overthrow going to last? Only one way to find that out for sure, but I'm thinking this may actually reverse very soon. In terms of why would IWM be outperforming here? There is this perception that if the government gets more control over interest rates, then interest rates will come down. This, as I've mentioned numerous times, is unlikely to be true. But as long as the market thinks it's true, then it can push up, but it's not actually that likely to be true. So we will see. All right, let's have a look at. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my mouse today, which is very annoying. All right, well, I might be switching to a new mouse tomorrow. All right, on the hourly chart, we had an RSI 14 sell signal that has now failed. On the 15-minute chart, RSI 14 sell signal failed, and I think another one may have fixed. But at the moment, we're just basically going out of the previous wedge, and I'm watching to see. I'll be having a close look this weekend to see if we've got any potential other options which are looking good. Okay, DAX still making higher highs, pulling back very slightly. Nikkei powered up through the previous high and made new high with considerable confidence. Still on a daily RSI 14 sell signal. This is not obviously, this was a nice flag, broke up, retested the high, but we're not obviously forming a reversal pattern at the moment. We will have to see how that develops. Okay, let's have a look at DX, where we're getting pretty close to the target. And that's actually not far above now. I've got that in the 99.35 to 99.43 area. I'm kind of hoping it powers up through it when we get there. That's what I would like to see, and I'd like to see it come back up and retest this high here. But we will see how that goes. As it is, we've already got a decent looking double top, and we are getting pretty close. So if we're going to see a reversal, that could be waiting for us there. Now, let's have a look at USD. USD has made the double top target. No current positive divergence, but that is no longer pressure to the downside. GBP USD has broken down from the double top, but I'm far from convinced this is going to make target. USD JPY finished off its unfinished business above. So at the moment, a few days ago when we were waiting for the USD move up, I was saying that everything was pretty supportive. At the moment, this is pretty neutral. We do have an USD CAD target to the upside, but again, we've got a nice looking little level top here too. We could see a reversal. Australian dollar still got a possible head and shoulders forming, and still got a large double top which is broken down here, but I'm doubtful about that actually delivering much. We will see. All right, looking at bonds. Bonds, we're seeing a bit of a reversal here. This looks like a bear flag forming on ZB. We didn't reach the obvious resistance trend line though. ZN, this looks like a triangle forming, and that's very likely because it is, but hang on, wait a second. Just want to move that because I think it's pretty obvious that we're looking at a different resistance trend line, which should be coming from here. So let's have a look at that. Yeah, that's it. All right. Bit of a rough triangle, but nonetheless a triangle, and this should be resolving down into at least a retest this low. But obviously we've got big patterns pointing down on bonds, and I think we're just consolidating until they start playing out. Possibly prompted by craziness from the Oval Office, but possibly just going to happen anyway. Okay, CL, we've had a basically a 50 back after this move up. Waiting to see what happens here. The 60-minute sell signal has reached the possible near miss target. HO, it reached the full target. We've got an IHS which has broken up here, almost made target, came back and back tested the neckline. May well be returning to that target now. On RBOB, 60-minute sell signal reached the possible near miss target, and again we had a 50 back on the move up. We've got some targets above. We came pretty close to them before, but I'm still thinking I'm quite liking those to be hit. NG, I've got a possible falling wedge here, which I'm watching, but there's something else I wanted to show you today as well, and that is, obviously every so often I fish out the futures charts for the next few months. This is NG going over just over a year from here, and this is the seasonal decline that is expected, and that is a decline which would go down basically another 25 to 30. Nope, 35. Basically another 0.35 over the next 3 months, down into a low in May. So we will see how that goes, but I was talking about a possible target down in the 2.6 area, and you can see that it would get us pretty close to that target. So I'm wondering about that, but potentially we've got this trend line in the way, and I'm watching to see whether that holds up. All right, looking at GC. GC, we've got a nice looking channel up here, and we're testing support on it now. If that breaks, well, we've also got a pretty nice looking head and shoulders here. So I'm wondering about a bit of a retracement. It's not a large pattern. It wouldn't be an awful lot. It wouldn't be a large retracement, but I'd be looking for a target probably in about the 45.10 area. Looking at SI, might be seeing a short-term high or a bull flag forming. Palladium. Disappointingly, back at the monthly pivot, I was hoping to see this target made up here in the 2010 area. May well still get made though. Platinum, again, a little weak overnight, and I'm hoping to see the retest of this high here in about the 25.45 area. HG, nice looking double top, and this is looking increasingly as though it may well break down, and it's nice. So if we see a sustained break below the 5.7 area, this would have a target in about the 5.25 area. So that would be all the way down here. So that would be a nice pullback. I've got mixed feelings about copper here. I mean, obviously, construction in the US is not going well. So that is a reason to see copper go down, but there is some talk that there'll be a lot of demand for copper from data centers, so obviously that could make it go up. We'll see. Looking at KC, bit of a pullback here. I'm leaning towards the downside here, but we will see. Bit of a rally at the moment, possible little double bottom here. Looking at SB, we've got what looks like an overall flag breaking down. It might still be forming though. CC, I was looking for a retest of this low, and we made it. So possible double bottom forming here. Watching, we've got a 60-minute buy signal fixed, seeing how far that gets. Again, like coffee, I'm kind of leaning towards the downside here. CT, we've got what looks like a flag or a triangle forming, likely before we head up towards the target in the 66.8 to 67 area. Lumber has broken up with a target in the 643.25 to 646.5 area, and it's pausing a bit, but I'm looking higher on that too. We do have a weak 6-minute sell signal fixed. ZW had a nice looking double bottom break up here, had a stiff rejection. I have to say, I think there was a stiff enough rejection, and I'm not really looking for this double bottom to make target anymore, but I could be mistaken. On corn, this looks an awful lot like a bear flag forming. Weak 6-minute buy signal has fixed and not reached the possible near miss target yet. Soy, we've got a retest of this low. We've got a nice looking potential double bottom, and I'm waiting to see whether or not this is going to deliver anything, which it may. And if it does, then we can see a little rally here on soy. ZL has already had a significant rally, so this no longer looks anything like a bear flag, and in fact has retested the prior high here. So waiting to see how this develops. We do have a 60-minute sell signal fix. Might just be doing a 50 back. We'll see. Live cattle is still trading sideways in a range, leaning bullish. HE, where I was leaning bullish for it and it was trading in a range, is breaking up at the moment. We've got a minimum target on the double bottom in the 88.65 area, and we're now getting fairly close to that target. We shall see how that goes. All right, great. Let's have a quick look at questions. Do I have any charts on Boeing? I most certainly do. Hang on. Bear with me a moment. I haven't updated this in a month or two, probably, but yeah, I've definitely got that. Sorry, I'm just going through the Dow Industrial. That's what I've got all of the companies in the Dow Industrial charted. All right, bear with me a moment, right? All right, Boeing. Okay, that's the log chart, which is probably not what we're looking for here. Okay, I had a nice looking triangle here on the log chart. I'm kind of leaning towards this heading higher with potential to go back into 435. But let's have a look at the smaller picture charts first. All right, on the weekly chart, I have the triangle there too. It's nice. It hasn't broken up on the weekly chart though. Well, if this breaks up, and actually I have to say, a lot of the time a triangle like this would break down. But if this breaks up, then it's got potential to take us quite a bit higher. But normally, I would say that these sort of triangles would tend to break down. We had a nice little double bottom here. I haven't looked at this for a couple of months, but you can see we got up to the target, and then we've seen a stiff pullback, basically about 61.8 back, and then we've gone up to a higher high. The obvious trendline target up here is triangle resistance, which is up at about 258, 259. And it may well stall there. In terms of divergence, we've got nothing, but we could easily set up an RSI 5 sell signal. Let's have a quick look at the daily chart. No divergence there, but it'd be very easy to set some up. And in terms of the short-term pattern, which I haven't charted, fairly standard-looking trending pattern, I think. Might be a wedge, but hang on. I'm just going to cut. I'm just going to. I think looking at the we've got obvious resistance not far above. We've obviously made that double bottom target I had marked in, which performed very nicely. And I'm really having trouble with my mouse today. It's kind of annoying when I'm charting. All right, let's have a look at the trend lines here. I'm forecasting a new mouse in my fairly near-term future. All right. It's a channel, mate. No, not quite. It's close, though. Oh, no, I think it probably is a channel. Hang on 1 second. All right. Yep. There it is. All right, that is a pretty decent looking rising channel. And we've got resistance not far above. I've got that currently at about the 252 area, but more interestingly, the channel support is what I'd be looking at for the key support level here. I would not like to see a break below this channel support at 232. That could be after the turn, or it could be that we just start topping out there. But I've got to say, we've got on the weekly chart, we've got a really obvious resistance level, and it is not far above. We've just made a high at 248.75, and I've got pretty solid looking. God, this mouse is annoying. Sorry, I haven't got a spare hand right now. So, all right, here we've got resistance up in the 259 area, and that's pretty nice resistance. I mean, that's actually a declining resistance trend line from the high in 2001. That's decent. So I'm thinking not a lot of upside to be had there. Significant support break would be a break below 232, and at the moment, if we get back up to 260, we'd actually be pretty close to hitting the weekly upper band, which would be also another signal for a likely reversal in the near future. All right, mate, no worries. My pleasure as always. I will catch you again on Monday. All right, take care. Have a great weekend.